So I just clicked the Feed the Void previously, and I have 29 out of 30 cards. Um, the one card that's missing is the other legendary. I actually got the Lakiri Sacrifice um, through the pack openings, which I'm grateful and thankful for. I said that redundant words. But anyway, I don't have this card, which I really want to complete the deck, which this is the only card missing. And normally I don't really use those customized decks, but I kind of want to see how it fits and how it pans out since I lack the only other legendary. Uh, so I do have enough dust to craft, as you can see on the right side. Um, However, I am a person who likes to, tweak the deck quite a bit. I know that I have been punished before for having sacrificial pact. I think I've only been punished twice ever. Um, Over like 3 years of Hearthstone. That I actually got punished. Um, Yeah, I'm pretty sure one time I got sacrificial pact on Jaraxxus. Yeah, very unfortunate. And then the other time it was just some taunt that I had that um I demon fired which I was relying to save me, but it didn't. So that was the two times I would say that it backfired. Now I'm tweaking my deck list in such a way that I know it weakens the deck. However, I haven't actually read up on a lot of the Anguro cards. I mean, I know like maybe the basic and the rare ones, kind of. Um, but in terms of the legendaries, even though I looked over a few, I definitely don't know all of them, and I definitely did not memorize any of them. However, I have been making certain decks like a Tempo Druid that I called because it actually fits just the right amount without needing to scroll. This deck though it will scroll. Um, but one of the reasons why why I'm talking about that Druid deck is because um, I've actually um, decided to tech in two things in almost all my decks, and the two things is the new ooze and Black Knight. Um, the reason for Black Knight usually is because of Sagoth the Slitterer. Um, that's just one of the techs that I decided to go against, even though Sagoth is too slow. But in terms of all the choices, I think that there are enough taunts um, in this new Anguro to validate such a tech. And I believe that a lot of people do that. However, because of the customizable decks or the deck list there, that I think it's a good choice to tech in Black Knight. Now, the other one, the new ooze, I fought recently at least two times the aggro warrior, and at least one time I managed to pull out a 7/1 Arcanite Reaper using the new ooze. Um, so that is another tech card that I decided to put in, um, just like before, way back in the day when nobody really regarded Acidic Swamp Ooze as a tech card, but rather just a 2 for a 3/2 body. Um, I used to tech uh, a weapon remover all the time, and I've always regarded it as a weapon remover more than the 2 for a 3/2 body, which a lot of people just do unless it's arena, then it's more likely to be a weapon remover. Um, Well, and besides, why would you not want? a 2 with a body of 3/2 that takes out a weapon, right? In especially in arena. So in that regard, I always tech um very situationally. Now, speaking of situationally, ever since Reno Jackson came out, um, the all-time favorite and really highly rated Reno Lock. Now, yeah, I love how people play Reno Lock, and I appreciate that very much. However, um, back in the day, people always strive talking about, or people always emphasize or overemphasize how important it is to have consistency. Now, sure, my talk about consistency is not about the win rate specifically. It's more about um, card chance or probability. Meaning to say, people who loved short deck list at that time, having two of each card necessary and making the deck list as short as possible, where in general, if your deck list does not scroll, it tends to be pretty favorable. Um, Without considering matchups, it can do fairly well because the chance or the probability is consistent, quote unquote, enough um, to that point, which kind of counteract the mentality and gameplay of a Reno Lock, because every single card is pretty situational on every turn until you have control of the board. So, which means that I just didn't um, like the the mentality behind um, Reno Lock because of how people enjoyed or favored consistency based on 2 out of 30 cards per type, meaning that there's going to be 15 only. 15 times 2 is 30. So without much variation, without much other tech, because you have 15 of each card, without considering legendaries being one ofs, that um, people wound up favoring Reno, especially Reno Lock, um, and not talk about how they are playing situationally like I am teching in cards. Um, Now, it is important to tech in cards as well, um, in the sense that people talk about how you should tech in cards if you face 50% or more of a certain matchup. Um, but then again, you know, Rena Jackson, um, people who play strictly or directly reading the text um, would be playing situationally in almost every turn. So having tech cards, um, knowing that I degrade the win rate of a deck, I actually take advantage of um, the situation where I actually can defeat something or a creature based on having the tech that I have, which is either that new ooze um, that gains armor or something like that. And the reason why I say or something like that is because I haven't fully read Angoro. So I do not know everything, but like I said, I decided to tech in Black Knight because there are just some legendaries that moved out of to wild, and I mean, whatever tech that I can fill in, I would rather just fill in something useful because I do understand that there are some taunts that just came in as well. So Black Knight is just going to be my standard um, tech no matter what. So even though I revealed my secret, so called, um, I just thought that it's something that I really need to talk about. Um, yeah, and I just got that Echo Shaman card for the Murloc deck, I believe, or something. Um, and I am talking over my recording. Um, but I really needed to talk about um, this particular recording because I feel like it's so important to understand my perspective on situational cards. So this is my first time um, making this well, I wouldn't say like first time doing customizable deck, but my first time um, really utilizing a lot more of the customizable list. Uh, but I remember that when I stuck to the customizable list, my win rate did go up. However, there were a lot of situations where I was hoping for the cards that I would play on that particular turn, and I didn't have it, and it actually ruined me. Or that when I took out a tech card that I have, not necessarily Black Knight or the Ooze or something, but Faceless Manipulator, and I got wrecked because I couldn't Faceless my opponent's Rag um, before I took it down. And it's kind of interesting why I mentioned this because Faceless Manipulator is basically a cheaper way to copy somebody else's legendary. It's not just for um, OTKs or I don't know, basically OTKs. Now, Faceless Manipulator used to be a 8 mana combo with the old 3 mana BGH. You know, copy and take down the other one. And so it turned to a 10 mana combo, and I still have when Cthulhu came out. I actually took down a 24/24 Cthulhu and a 27/27 Cthulhu with the Faceless BGH combo at 10 mana. Um, I am very proud of that, even though it's low rank. I don't care. But anyway, the game is starting, and I haven't really fought a priest before. Um, and this is my first time running my deck, and I don't know about the enforcer choice that I chose to put into the deck, but I just thought it was a good AoE for myself. Um, and it was a good AoE before Angoro anyway. So I know it kind of counteracts the portal as far as my quest goes. Um, I am not sure how it would interact if I actually played my enforcer, but I'm hoping that I time my enforcer well enough um, to where I won't take down my own imps because I don't want to lack damage. Because I know that when you have discard decks, you actually want to push a lot of damage. Hence, um, the customizable deck list was meant to um, do sufficiently um, as early as possible, push out damage. I have weakened the customizable deck, but I want to see how the entire deck plays out without that many discards. Um, if I need to discard sooner, I will bring back some of the other discards. Um, but in general, I really want to see how my own tech cards work out. Um, aside from the new Ooze and Black Knight. Now, I don't actually know what Amara does because I haven't read up on all the legendaries. Um, and this is being really honest, even though this is a recording over this highlight. Um, but I'm really hoping that I could show the potential of Black Knight. Um, for whichever highlight that I might make, that Black Knight would work in my favor. And I know that some people still play Cthulhu decks, and some people even play that one minion which makes Cthulhu a taunt. Now, that's another reason to tech in the Black Knight. Or if you're facing a Paladin, well, Paladin always generally have their Tyrion, and you know, whenever you should just try to have, the Black Knight. And that was a good discard. Um, from the Soulfire. I was actually surprised when I got lucky there because um, I really didn't want to discard any of the other cards, even though that ooze wouldn't really help against the priest, which is the other discard that I would prefer because all my other cards before that were really important um, in the end game. And yeah, there we go. Sacrificial Pact. See, ah, and that's the reason why I don't like um having it in my deck list. Um, or generally when I have Jiraxis in my deck list, my opponent that I queue into actually gets lucky from either Shifting Shade or Thought Stealing. So I was just checking and I decided that, priest weakness is, 4 attacks. So I might as well just play it now. Losing the Siphon Soul kind of sucks, but honestly, nowadays when you have only Siphon Soul, um, it is a good heal, but you don't have any board presence, so you're actually not gaining anything. In the past, um, or like currently, Siphon Soul is only good when you already establish a decent board or that you have um, caused your opponent to run out of cards, then Siphon Soul is okay. Um, Now, I did take out one of my Doom Guards, and that is definitely the issue that I will need to check up upon um, because I do know that without the second Doom Guard, my quest um, is actually delayed. So, um, but at the same time, what I don't like about Doomguard is usually when you have a pair of them in your deck, you tend to toss out the other one. And then you end up losing because you lacked 5 damage due to the discard, um, rather than not that you didn't um, have it. I would almost rather not to have the extra 5 damage from um, not putting in the second Doom Guard rather than discarding the other Doom Guard, which clearly shows an extra 5 damage that I could have dealt. Now, I guess this is the best time to play my Enforcer, right? I mean, yeah, I was just checking what that Angora card does because I don't know everyone. Even though I earlier I said that I know a lot of the rares, but again, I don't actually know every single card because I just came back into the game after a 5 month hiatus in my previous highlights that I mentioned, or at least in words I mentioned that I just came back to the game. Um, Now Enforcer is kind of icky in this deck because um I believe the portal summons certain creatures and I'm just worried that I'm killing my own creatures. Now here's the new card. I think I saw taunt. From that little thing I saw the word taunt and I'm really happy to see that because I've been holding out on my Black Knight in my hand and I was really happy to draw it mid game. So the priest got the quest done first, and then I delayed my quest for 1 turn. Um, Now I don't actually know the deck list of the priest because I don't actually, even though I use Hearthstone, I actually don't go looking at every single deck list and try to memorize or um, count the cards. At least not yet. Usually I know the deck based on experience, having played it against it or played it, like I said. But because this is my first time meeting it, um, I really want the honest feel against this opponent deck. Now I only got a glimpse of Amara having taunt, um, but I don't remember what it does. Ooh, Raza. Um, Now I have Raza on one of my accounts, as in because I play a few regions, so I know what Raza does, but this is gonna hurt me because for every turn that he can heal, um, based on the discard deck, I have a feeling that I'm losing damage over certain discards. Um, but so far the one painful discard was the Siphon Soul. Um, but I think I can live without it. Um, that's the mind control, I believe. People always do that. Like, um, and if it's not mind control, then it's like Cabal or something. Like, it's just one of those cards that it's from on the left side. Um, it's just like my Black Knight. You see, like I'm holding out a card on my left side, and it's the leftmost card. Normally, people have that for sap, for mind control, for hex or something. Um, that's usually what happens. And my hand isn't good. Um, and the question now is, do I want to use my Black Knight against this weird taunt? Um, my initial my initial th- thought when I saw it is that what other taunts would a priest really play? And in the back of my mind, I'm also not sure how I'm gonna deal with Amara later on. So since I teched in Crazed Alchemist, I'm gonna just use it right now, knowing that my portal is always gonna be summoning 3/2s until I'm dead, or meaning that I actually lose the game. Um, that I think that was a good time to use Crazed Alchemist. So um, let's do that. And I guess I need more taunts, right? Thank goodness I didn't toss that one. Nor my Black Knight, so I got lucky there again. So now my board seems good. The only issue is obviously uh, the old card from the last, yeah, that card, Dragonfire Potion. Um, and I was really hoping that he didn't have that so that I can actually start pushing damage because um, warlocks, in terms of the mid to aggro, you really need that push. And I believe it's that card that's gonna win in the game because in the long run, priest with healing power, especially after Raza, um, there's that mind control that he tried to pull off against the portal. Um, but um, yeah. So uh, now it comes down to how much pressure I'm feeling based on the card that he stole from me. Um, well, my taunt is weak, so I have to kill that. Like, if my taunt was a little bit better, I wouldn't have done that. Um,
At last, a worthy disciple.
yeah, because the taunt is weak, I really wanted uh my taunt to protect me as long as I can. Um,
I'm warning you. I'm unstable.
as long as it can. And I don't know how I'm gonna win this one because um I guess that's another good card that I tacked in there, that silencer for Death Rattle minion. Um, I just decided to add it in here because I feel like because this is a discard deck that um chances are it's gonna get discarded, and since it's like a silencer, it's almost the same as not having it. I didn't want it to be more important, and I'm glad I did the ordering because I knew that um my knight would um get taken out. And so I really hope that he doesn't have another AoE like he did earlier with the Dragonfire Potion because I really need to push damage. Um, so
I'm almost out of
the sad part about going against a priest is that you don't really want a priest to have board control because sometimes they can just buff it up. However, of course, he only has two cards in hand, and one of them is Amara. Now, I am waiting for Amara um, to come out. And knowing that this is a Death Rattle deck, I'm gonna have a hard time. And obviously, Kazakus, so he got the AoE card that he needed. So I'm pretty much screwed because um, in any aggressive type deck,
just
um,
act natural.
you really need to not get pushed out of the game by AoEs. Like, if you have a control deck, depending on how hard you play into their removal, their AoEs, then that's your problem. But in a control deck, usually you outlast them long enough. Whereas a aggressive deck, not so much. Now, I'm not sure if I should have played Jiraxis maybe like 1 or 2 turns ago. Um, that might cost me, because I could have done maybe a bit more damage. So the last card in hand of his is Amara, obviously, because that's the card that he hasn't played. Um, and he is a Death Rattle deck, so he hasn't gotten Nazoth, but Nazoth is soon because it has gone about half of his deck. So I'm really hoping that he doesn't get Nazoth at any point. Um, but I do have Black Knight ready for Amara, which he might play pretty much this turn, I would say, because if he didn't draw Nazoth, then it would be Amara. Um, so we will see which one. Okay, now it's Amara, and I knew that I saw the word taunt. I just didn't realize that it was going to give 40 health because I didn't read up on Amara. Um, yeah, I am gonna lose, but I think I'm gonna come pretty close, based on this turn. Um, if only I didn't need to trade, I think I would have gotten him down because the board presence here is so important that if I had more health,
I'm invincible.
Easy.
again.